You're listening to WHIP.
Hello?
I have just one question for you. Are you ready?
Am I ready for what? Who's this?
Are you ready for a Fantasy Forecast? With John Gilbert, Christian Riley, and Ryan Snowden in the WHIP studios here at Temple University, where our football team is 5-0. I am so hyped for this. That's the only football team I care about right now in Philadelphia.
And we're 5-0 going on 6-0, by the way.
Going on 7-0. Nah, we'll see.
Why don't we go 12-0 while we're at it?
Hey, 13-0. They play the conference championship if they go 12-0.
Hey, don't forget about the Final Four.
Oh, of course. All right, so what's that? 14, 15-0?
Yeah, I think 14-0.
15-0 if they win it all.
Because we're going to beat TCU, and then we're probably going to beat Ohio State or Michigan for the championship.
All right, so congratulations to the Temple Owls on winning the national championship. It was a great season. Sorry to everyone else, but season's over now, and Temple's hoisting the trophy. Nah, great conclusion to homecoming week, though. I hope everyone enjoyed their homecoming week. I know I did. I enjoyed it very much yesterday. That was just a perfect way to cap it off. Next week, they got Central Florida at home. Everyone should definitely try to make it down there. I mean, it's the support of the fans that helps the team a lot, and you know, we all win as one group, and we'll keep winning so long as we keep doing that and showing the support like we did yesterday. But let's get into some fantasy football news. Just recently announced Julio Jones is active today. So if you are thinking about benching him, well, don't. Yeah.
That's all I have to say is don't.
Even if you think that he might not be the regular Julio Jones just because he was potentially not going to start, well, that's crazy because he's Julio Jones. So start him.
Okay, so let's get into some stardom sit-em, shall we say. All right, my stardom player for this week, and yes, don't call me a homer because he is going to have a monster day, and yes, that is Eagles quarterback Sam Bradford. I expect 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today, I really do. This Saints defense is atrocious, and I'm just being nice. They are atrocious. I expect to Chip Kelly finally call a good game. It's about time. They're finally home from that miserable home loss week 2 against Dallas. I expect the Birds to bounce back emphatically today, and I expect them to win huge. I think the Eagles are going to win by 3 touchdowns today. I really do. I think the Saints are just going to be disastrous right out of the gate. I think we're going to get after Drew Brees. The Saints offense is going to be stagnant, and the Eagles are going to get up and down the field, and I just have a ton of confidence in Sam Bradford today. Mark me down and thank me later for when Bradford has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yes, start him with confidence.
I wish I was as confident as Christian.
Whatever you're on, I'll take it.
Yeah, get me some what he's having. Like, what'd you have for breakfast, Christian? Because I'll take that next week too.
Nothing really special. Just had a bowl of cereal, and all I thought about was how Sam Bradford was just going to be electric today, and he will. He will.
For my stardom, I think I'm going to have to go with Larry Fitzgerald against the Lions. He has had a resurgence recently, and I just love what I'm seeing from the Cardinals offense. Even though they have a running back by committee, they spread the ball around in the backfield. That leads to balance for when Palmer drops back and throws. And Fitzgerald has been consistently open. The Lions are 0-4, and they're reeling after that Monday night loss. And I just think that Larry Fitzgerald is going to have a huge game.
For my stardom, Marcus Mariota going up against the Bills defense, who honestly has not been impressive at all. And we thought, I mean, everyone on earth thought that defense was going to be a pretty solid defense. They had the talent. They had the coach. They have done a little bit more than nothing this year. I mean, I think they've allowed like 40 points in like multiple games this season. Marcus Mariota top 5 in NFL passer rating among quarterbacks. He has 109.2 this season. Marcus Mariota, my stardom.
Let's get into some sit-ems now. A little opposite here. My sit-em for the week, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. I mean, I think Russell Wilson is going to struggle today. That Seattle offense has not been the same this year. I mean, it really hasn't been electric the last couple of years. Even when they won the Super Bowl, it wasn't anything special. With that being said, I mean, they're on the road. They're a different team at home, especially offensively. And they're going into Cincinnati against a team that's clicking on all cylinders on both sides of the ball. Now, do I think Cincinnati's going to light up the scoreboard today? No, absolutely not. So if anybody was wondering, sit Andy Dalton as well. I think Andy Dalton is going to be back to the old Andy Dalton in the postseason today. I think he's going to struggle. But back to my Russell Wilson opinion here. I think Russell Wilson is going to struggle. I think he's not going to be able to run for many yards today. I think Cincinnati's going to have a quarterback spy on him at all times, and that defense is fast. And they get after it, and they fly all over the field. That defensive line will cause so many problems for Seattle's offensive line, which is going to eliminate the running game, which I think, and then the passing game has, been highly inconsistent all season long. So I expect no more than, honestly, 200 yards passing from Russell Wilson. It's going to be a nightmare today for him.
Yeah. For my sit-em, I would go with Peyton Manning going up against the Raiders, because he hasn't been the Peyton Manning of old, and I don't like what I'm seeing from him. And even though he still has the weapons, he just hasn't been as inspiring as in years past. So going up against the Raiders, the 425 game, I just don't like the matchup. I think the Raiders are in a good position excuse me, to potentially win this game and maybe minimize the damage that Peyton can do.
My sit-em is Phillip Rivers against Pittsburgh tomorrow night. He's been a top 10 QB this year. I really don't see him doing well against Pittsburgh's defense. They're coming off a 10-game, like a mini-bye, right? Because didn't they play Baltimore on Thursday night last week? Yeah, Pittsburgh's defense is going to be so well rested. They're the type of team that will come out when they're facing adversity, and without Ben Roethlisberger, they know that Michael Vick he's not going to do what Ben Roethlisberger does, especially every week. Eventually he'll get. He doesn't have the stamina that Ben Roethlisberger does. Michael Vick is old. Just saying.
He's not good either.
I wouldn't say
that's kind of amazing to me that Phillip Rivers is a top 10 quarterback this year. Is it just me, or does it not feel like he's really been?
It just doesn't feel it because
the typical Phillip Rivers of old. I mean,
if he's a top 10 quarterback, which he is in standard fantasy leagues, he's number 8. He has 17.0 points. Are you satisfied with 17-point performance from your QB?
I mean, I'm a Sam
more.
Bradford owner, so yes. But with that being said, 17 points is nothing that really jumps off the charts to you. So no, I mean, ideally I would want more. But yeah, that's just amazing to me. That strikes me that Rivers is a top 10 quarterback, because it just feels like that San Diego offense has just not been, it's just not been up to par from with all the talent that they have. So yeah, that's striking to me. But you know what, boys? Let's get into the games now. We got 8 1:00 games. Today's going to be a good day of football. There's a lot of good games on the table for us. Let's go. I mean, obviously, let's start with the first game on the board. We got Chicago at Kansas City, and this is just a game of two teams that have just been highly disappointing. I mean, nothing surprising with Chicago, but Kansas City, I mean, what has happened to this team? I mean, Andy Reid is losing this team before he even realizes it. Luckily, they're home against the Bears, which I think is a cupcake game for them. I expect the Chiefs to run away in this game, and yes, they've been struggling, so it's hard for the Chiefs to run away against anybody, but it's Jay Cutler and the Bears. I expect Cutler to have multiple turnovers in this game. I think Alex Smith will get back on track a little bit against this soft Bears defense. I think Jamal Charles gets back to consistently running the football, getting his touches. I see the Chiefs winning this game by 2 touchdowns. Johnny, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, for the Bears, Eddie Royal's out, Alshon Jeffrey is out, and the only offensive firepower that they really have besides Martellus Bennett is Matt Forte. If you have Forte, you start him. If you have Jamal Charles in this game, start him. And I'd say Travis Kelce, and I'd say give Jeremy Maclin flex consideration. But I agree, Christian. I don't think the Bears are anything special at all, and the Chiefs are going to come out firing.
You guys are forgetting the one guy in this game that had the game of his life last week. Carlos Santos, or Cairo Santos, whatever his name is. The kicker. Was last week not like the worst kicking performance as a whole we've ever seen?
This season has been it's been a disaster.
I mean, the whole league just struggled with kicking last week, especially the Eagles with Caleb Sturgis.
Well, that just goes without saying. We signed a kicker that has missed more field goals than any other field goal kicker the last couple of seasons. Makes zero sense to me. But I guess we didn't have any other options with Cody Parkey being out. But Snowden, with that being said, who do you got in this game?
Cairo Santos. I mean, why not? He was, 8 for 8 last week? 7 for 7?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I would want him in my fantasy lineup.
Holy
badly.
smokes.
There's
28
only a
points
few
or
good
something?
kickers out there.
Yeah.
So for those who think the kickers don't matter, well, you're wrong, because this year they, in fact, do matter. There's only about 5 good kickers in the entire NFL.
Yep, 100%.
Next game, I think it's going to be the best game of the week. We got Seattle at Cincinnati, the 1 o'clock kickoff. Boy, am I excited for this game. I just got done saying how Russell Wilson, I think, is going to struggle in this game. I also think Andy Dalton is going to struggle in this game. So getting back to Snowden's point about how it's going to be, Cairo Santos and the Chiefs game is going to be all about field goals. This game has the recipe to be a field goal game, the Seattle-Cincinnati game. I mean, I said all those bad things about Russell Wilson earlier, but I just have a feeling the Seattle defense is back on track. The Legion of Boom is back. Obviously, with Cam Chancellor, they're just, they're back to being the intimidating defense that they're capable of being. I see Seattle winning this game. I think it's low scoring. I think it's a disgusting low scoring type of game. I see a 13-10 Seattle victory in this game. Johnny, what do you got?
Yeah, I think it'll be low scoring. It won't be as low scoring as Boston College was yesterday, winning 3-0. But
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, they won 3-0, which
Who did they play?
I forget, honestly. But it was like nothing for a while.
Well, anyway.
Yeah, but I like AJ Green in this game because I watched what Megatron did to that Seahawks defense, and he was half a yard away from putting up 6 and then adding to his fantasy total until he fumbled. And I think AJ Green is going to do something similar. I think, though, that the Bengals will pull through. I think that they are the real deal this year, and I like them in this game at a 20-13 margin of victory. I wouldn't start any Seahawks in this game. The only Bengal I'd really go with would be A.J. Green. Stay away from Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. And as Christian said, Andy Dalton. I think he'll find a way to win. I don't think it'll be pretty. I don't think he'll put up many good numbers, but he'll find a way to win.
Yeah, I like Seattle in this game as a team. There's not many players I would really start other than the kickers and the defense. Jimmy Graham has been pretty disappointing this year. He's ranked 11th among tight ends with 7 points averaging. Marshawn Lynch is out. And on Cincinnati's side, I mean, I can't buy into Cincinnati because, I mean, people have been saying that, they're the real deal for years. And Marvin Lewis, I mean, that guy's just had more chances than any coach in sports, frankly. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take for them to get rid of that guy, but he has no playoff wins, and he's the longest tenured coach in the NFL.
I couldn't agree more with that statement. I'm just not a Marvin Lewis fan. I'm sorry, not sorry. I mean, the postseason record goes without saying. I mean, when you lose in the first round consistently, year in and year out, I mean, how do you retain your job with all that talent? It just makes no sense to me, Ryan. Preach to the choir.
I mean, Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard are both going to play today. I can only imagine that Jeremy Hill is going to be limited with the red letter next to his name in the injury report. He is active, but I can only imagine that Gio Bernard is going to get the most snaps and most, if not all, of the red zone snaps. So Giovanni Bernard, definitely a guy I would start in this game. I still like Seattle in this game. It'll probably be a low-scoring affair. So for me, Gio Bernard, kickers and defenses. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back on Fantasy Forecast on WHIP. It's for all you Iggy Azalea fans out there. I'm sure there are many that listen to this show. So, I hope you guys had a good week, because I had a rough day on Thursday. Drove to Fresh Grocer, about to get some groceries for my house. But first, I parked at Fresh Grocer, walked across the street to Rite Aid to drop off a prescription. Then I went back into Fresh Grocer, bought all my groceries, and found out that you can't park there and then leave the lot. And my car was towed. I was stranded there with all of my groceries in my hand. My roommate had to come pick me up and then take me to 61st Street in Southwest Philly to get my car and pay $200. So, just a little PSA for you guys out there. If you're going to Fresh Grocer, then park there and go into Fresh Grocer and don't go anywhere else, because your car will be towed. That's my fault. There were signs there and everything that said you can't do that. Don't do that. So I just missed the signs. My own fault. Damper on my day. Didn't really want to spend any money later that night.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. But anyway, let's get back to some games. We got the Redskins and we got the Falcons. My goodness, I am so excited for this game because I just want to know, is Julio Jones, is he going to play or is he just going to play like half the game and like are they just going to sit him out? Like I don't have time for that for fantasy owners when you're 1-3 and you need a big win to get your season back on track. You need your superstar players in the lineup. You need them being 100% healthy in there for 4 quarters, dominating the football game. For all the listeners out there, I'm just hoping and praying that Julio Jones is going to play for 4 quarters. I'm hoping that it's not like last week where Atlanta gets off to a 21-0 start. The game's over before it even starts. And they sit all their starters and they just run the football the rest of the game. Let's hope that the Redskins actually show up to play today so it's competitive. Hopefully Julio's in there for 4 quarters, like I said, and he can put up some fantasy points. But with that being said, my prediction for this game, obviously I'm taking Atlanta. I think the Redskins lay an egg this week. They're 2-2. I think they're even surprised that they're 2-2 at this point in the season. Coming off a huge win against the Eagles last week, an unfortunate loss for us, by the way. But I'm definitely taking the Falcons in this game. Dan Quinn should be in the running for Coach of the Year. He's been on fire this year with his team playing excellent on both sides of the ball. Yes, they've struggled defensively at times throughout the course of the season, but their defense has been an improvement from last year. I like this Falcons team, I really do, and I think they're off to a 5-0 start after today's 2-touchdown win, I'm going to say, over the Redskins. Johnny, who do you got?
Yeah, I have the Falcons as well. The only must-start guy that I see in this game is Devontae Freeman. I just love what he's been doing, and 66 carries, 252 yards, not that great, but then you see he's got 7 touchdowns, 6 in the last 2 weeks prior, and I just think he'll put in another 2 against an okay Redskins run defense, but they're going to be so concerned about stopping the pass that Freeman's going to get 20 carries, 120 yards, and I'm not sure how I feel about any Falcons receiving options who aren't Julio Jones, because I know Roddy White has been unhappy. Leonard Hankerson is inconsistent. So Julio Jones, if he's starting, as Christian said, just start him if he's active. But the only other surefire start in this game is Freeman. From the Redskins side, I want to say Alfred Morris, but the problem is he's been splitting carries with Matt Jones and a couple other guys. So I would put him in for flex consideration.
I agree. I just want to touch on that Alfred Morris point real quick. I think the only chance the Redskins have of staying in this game is if they establish the running game immediately from the get-go of this game. I mean, the Falcons are really going to try to air it out early and often and get that lead and then establish that ground game with Freeman and Tevin Coleman, who is back, by the way, this week. Like I said, the Redskins, I mean, the more they put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands to make plays down the field, the more it just bodes not well for them. So I think the Redskins have to keep Matt Ryan off the field and that Falcons offense if they want to have any chance of staying in this game. So I do like Alfred Morris today. I think he gets in the end zone. I think he has close to 100 yards. So if anybody is up in the air about starting Alfred Morris or has other options, to play in front of Alfred Morris, no, don't do that. I start Alfred Morris with confidence today. I really think he has a good day.
All right, that bodes well for me because I'm starting him.
I disagree. I actually don't think that any Redskins player is going to have a good day today. They're going against arguably one of the, if not the best teams in the NFL and one of the best offenses. So the Redskins offense might be out there a while because I feel like the Falcons are going to score and they're going to score quick. I mean, it doesn't, fatigue doesn't bode well for defenses definitely more than it does offenses. But if there's anyone, I mean, Julio Jones, I'm not as speculative as you guys are. Julio Jones is Julio Jones, whether he's probable or questionable or whatever.
I'm still holding my breath, but
if he's
I'd
playing,
love to hear all of that optimism. I love it.
If he's playing, he'll be good. And him and Devontae Freeman, I would honestly expect Devontae Freeman to get more carries than usual, and will probably put up some more points than he usually does, which is incredible considering he scored 32 last week. I'm not saying he's going to score 25 or 30 points, but both those guys can't go wrong with. So let's move on to the next game.
We got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Probably the game of the week, isn't it?
No.
The Florida Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't even want to get into fantasy players for either of these teams because
Wait, I got one.
I have Vincent Jackson.
Who?
And I do think Vincent Jackson is going to have a good day along with Mike Evans. If Mike Evans is, has a lot of attention paid to him on the Jaguars secondary. But let's put it this way. In my opinion, you don't start anybody on Jacksonville's offense. Nobody. I don't think anybody's a good play today. Yes, that includes Allen Hurns. Yes, that includes Allen Robinson. Yes, that includes TJ Yeldon. Don't like any of those guys today. Tampa Bay, I mean, the only two I really like in this game are the receivers, Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans. Other than that, I'm just not enthused about this game at all. You guys may disagree, but let's hear it.
I disagree on your point with Jacksonville. You know who I really like as a sleeper in this game? Julius Thomas.
Oh, first game back. I'm not buying it quite yet.
Oh, but the injury was what? His fingers? He's in shape. He's going to be able to get out there, catch the ball. They're going to try and get the ball to him probably 5 to 10 times. He's going to be a big red zone target because who else do they have in the red zone? So I think he'll get a touchdown and 70 yards. And if you have him stashed away on your bench, then you start him.
I say start no one in this game. That's pretty much it.
I love that analysis, Ryan. But anyway, now we got the Saints and the Eagles. I am super excited for this game. Fantasy purposes, I mean, like I said earlier on the show, I really like Sam Bradford today. I'm starting him with confidence. Anybody else that's on the fence with him, start him. I know Matthew Berry likes him a lot today. I like him. So if we like him, you should like him too. So start Sam Bradford. As far as the other Eagles players, I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. I mean, DeMarco Murray has just been a nightmare all season, to say the least. And it's not his fault. The offensive line has been equally as bad, if not worse. And you can 90% blame it on the offensive line and the play calling. Other than Bradford, I'm just really not sure. I mean, I like Jordan Matthews today. I mean, that Saints defense is really bad. I don't see how Matthews doesn't have a good game against that atrocious secondary, and especially since they'll be moving him all over the place, in the slot, outside. I like Matthews today. I like Bradford. I'm not sure about the running game, so don't take any word from me about the Eagles running game. But do you guys have any thoughts on the Eagles running game? Johnny, let's hear it.
It's been so bad. Like, I don't know how they keep running DeMarco Murray out there after Ryan Matthews did so well against the Jets. And Darren Sproles catches it out of the backfield. And then Murray he'll get his 10 carries per game and he'll get 30 yards. He'll have one big carry and then he'll go backwards 8 times. And I just think that Chip Kelly treats guards on the offensive line like Andy Reid treated linebackers. And he thinks that you can just plug in Joe Schmo from the street and be fine. But that's not the case because the offensive line are the 5 most important men on the football field, in my opinion. And the running game won't get started unless the offensive line meshes. So I would stay away from any running backs, including Mark Ingram and C.J. Spiller from the Saints. I think it's just going to be, they're going to air it out. It's a nice day. Even though Breeze has the shoulder issue, they're going to throw it 35 times a game. The Eagles are going to throw it 35 times a game. It's going to be a whole lot of points for PPR leagues.
Speaking of airing it out, Ryan, what do you think of Brandon Cooks today?
I was going to say, if there's anyone on the Saints team that you should start, it's either going to be Mark Ingram or C.J. Spiller, or one of the Saints receivers is going to have a big day. And I'm not really sure who that is because, honestly, none of them have really been too impressive this year at all. But I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be Brandon Cooks. Now, I really don't like going against the Eagles and saying that one player is going to light them up, especially when it's like a guy who hasn't really done much this year. But it's happened to the Eagles pretty much every game for the last couple years. Like, someone on the opposing team's receiving game is going to have a big day.
I agree. I definitely agree. So let's move on. We got the Browns and we got the Ravens, a rivalry game in a very bad division, I think, and with the Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns, and Cincinnati. Although Cincinnati is a very good team, but we got a rivalry game here: the Browns and the Ravens. This is a battle for fantasy purposes. This is a battle of the running games. I think it's either going to come down to, for the Browns, do you start Isaiah Crowell or Duke Johnson, or with the Ravens, obviously you're starting Justin Forsett, and I like Justin Forsett today. I think he gets in the end zone after last Thursday night, I believe, when they played Pittsburgh. He had rushed for 150 yards. He finally had a good game. They finally watched some film. They saw some running holes for him. He had some good vision that he showed. I think Forsett continues to pick up for where he left off in Pittsburgh last Thursday night. I think he rushes for over 100 yards. I think he finally gets in the end zone. It's a good day for Justin Forsett. Do you guys have any other predictions for this game? I mean, for the game prediction for me, I like the Ravens in this game. I think they get their second straight win. They find a way to beat this bad Browns team. That's just what it comes down to. It may not be pretty. It never is really pretty with Joe Flacco and that Ravens offense. But Justin Tucker is one of the best kickers in the NFL.
Yes.
I think he leads the way for the Ravens to get this victory. Johnny, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Steve Smith Sr.'s out.
When did we start calling him senior?
When he had a kid.
Oh, you're right. It's not like his kid's in the NFL.
No, but his kid's a junior.
All right, whatever.
He's in Pee Wee football.
Yay.
But I like Justin Forsett a lot. And I mean, I want to say Travis Benjamin from the Browns. I consider him just because they have to throw to somebody. But that's really about it. I mean, I don't trust either offense in this game.
No, definitely not. But other than Justin Forsett, if you are in a huge league and you are potentially in like real trouble for starting a QB, if you have a choice between Josh McCown and Johnny Manziel, even though McCown is starting, they have to pull him eventually. Johnny Manziel has to be put in there at QB sooner or later. And if it's ugly and like really ugly and by halftime, I could see Johnny Manziel getting some playing time. I mean, I know that's a really rational pick, but I really just wanted to throw that out there and just say that I think Johnny Manziel will get some fantasy points today. I think today's the day that they finally give up on the clown.
McCown played well last week, though. He led them on the game-tying drive. They almost won with him.
Dude,
They did, but it's still the Cleveland Browns. You know that they're due for a huge, huge letdown against their rival. I like the Ravens, and I don't like them big. I don't like the Ravens big against anybody, obviously, with that poor offense. I mean, just very inconsistent. And I'm kind of surprised because Mark Trestman is a very good offensive-minded coach. I thought that he would actually turn Flacco's, I thought Flacco would actually have a rejuvenated type of season under Mark Trestman, but so far that has not been the case. Anyway, I like the Ravens in this game. It could be just by a field goal, but I think they find a way to win at home. The Rams and the Packers, let's get to this game. This is an interesting game. I hear a lot of people are picking the Rams in an upset. I'm just not buying it. It's that bad man Aaron Rodgers at home in Lambeau. Enough said. I like Green Bay in this game. And obviously, for fantasy purposes, for everybody out there, you start every single key Green Bay weapon that you can. Whether, obviously Rodgers, James Jones, Randall Cobb. I mean, I even like Richard Rodgers, the tight end, to get in the end zone once today. So I like the Packers by 10 points at least. I like their fantasy players week in and week out. And for the other side of the ball, the Rams, I like Todd Gurley, obviously. I think Gurley's the real deal. I think the Rams are going to want to run the ball because they're going to want to keep Rodgers off the field. They'll probably give Gurley the ball 20 to 25 times today, I would say. I think he does get in the end zone today. It could be in mop-up time when they are getting blown out and when, they're just going to want to run the football just to have some positive things going for them offensively. But give me Aaron Rodgers, give me the Packers. No need for me to say any more.
Yep. You pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Can we go on to the next game then?
Yep.
Okay, we got the Bills and the Titans. Ryan, you said you like Marcus Mariota a lot in this game.
I do.
So do I. I love Mariota. He's the real deal. This kid just continues to press week in and week out. There's just something about him that he just continues to revitalize this Titans team. I think that they score points even against this tough Bills defense, which Ryan mentioned earlier that they've been very disappointing, especially in the secondary this year. I just don't know about the Bills as being a playoff contender. I'll see it when I believe it, and right now I'm not seeing it. So, but that's besides the point. From a fantasy perspective, what everybody needs to know today is Carlos Williams is out. Boobie Dixon is in. I really like Boobie Dixon today. I think he does get in the end zone. I'm saying a lot of people are getting in the end zone today. I really do like Boobie Dixon because he's their only guy in the backfield. Everybody else is hurt. You're not going to want to put the ball in Tyrod Taylor's hands too much. Sammy Watkins is out today. Who's going to be available in that passing game? Percy Harvin, Robert Woods, Charles Clay, who could be a good play today, by the way. As far as a game prediction, I'm going to take the Titans in an upset. I think Mariota finds a way to lead the charge on a game-winning drive, whether it leads into a field goal or a touchdown, giving the Tennessee Titans today. And another disappointing loss for the Buffalo Bills today. Ryan, who do you got?
Boobie Dixon. Well, I said earlier I like Marcus Mariota. Definitely like him against the weak Bills. And I think this is going to be really a make-or-break game for either team. I think whichever team wins this game could definitely still see themselves in the playoffs. Now, neither of those teams are probably going to make the playoffs, but it's definitely a chance for one of them. So I think they'll both come out firing, but I think Mariota has a big day against the disappointing Bills defense.
Where's the love for Tyrod Taylor? I personally think that he'll have a big day. I think Charles Clay is going to have a big day. I think if you have Taylor, you start him because it's the Titans' defense.
I guess. Yeah.
They're
Titans
pretty
defense.
bad.
Yeah, they are.
So I haven't seen anything from Taylor to tell me to sit him. He's thrown his fair share of picks, but he's been relatively smart with the ball. He gets rushing yards. He throws touchdowns. He spreads the ball around. And with Boobie Dixon, who you both like, and for some reason, I just see them putting the ball in Taylor's hands 40 times, letting him throw it a ton. He'll probably end up rushing for a good bit, and I like the Bills in this game.
I heard that the Eagles worked out Tyrod Taylor over the offseason and didn't.
They did.
That's pretty disappointing.
It is pretty disappointing, but let's get on to the Cardinals and the Lions. This game is in Detroit. I just have a question for both of you. Are the Lions going to finally get some luck today and beat a good football team?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
I do really feel bad because they absolutely got robbed in all caps. Let me put some emphasis on robbed in Seattle last week. That was a disgrace. I don't know how the ref did not know. How do you fail to understand the rules when you're an official? It just blows my mind.
He was mentored by the guy that was the Fail Mary ref. You guys know that? Yeah.
Really?
Seattle just finds more controversial ways to win at home, and it just blows my mind that everything goes their way. Anyway, the Cardinals and the Lions, I just think the Lions are coming off just a tough loss in Seattle. I'm going to take Arizona because I think Arizona is the better football team. I think that Detroit's defense is not going to have an answer for Carson Palmer and that vertical passing attack offensively. Andre Ellington is back this week. Chris Johnson has been running the ball well. Even David Johnson's ran it well at times. I think the Cardinals are just the better team. I think they win this game by double digits. I can't really say how much specifically. I'm just going to say double digits. But now let's get into fantasy perspective. I love Carson Palmer today. I think he has a field day against that Detroit defense, especially in the dome. No weather factor whatsoever. I like Palmer. I like him to throw for 3 touchdowns. And I'm going to say 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, start Carson Palmer. I'm just not sure about Arizona's receivers other than Larry Fitzgerald. I like Fitzgerald today. But for any John Brown or Michael Floyd type owners, the consistency is just not there for me. I can't have a lot of confidence. I'm sorry. I have Michael Floyd, and I just don't know when I'm ever going to be able to throw him in my lineup. It just seems like never. So, the Lions, on the other hand, I'm starting Calvin Johnson. I'm starting Golden Tate. Is Golden Tate going to get in the end zone, Ryan, Johnny? I mean, I just want to know, is he going to get in the end zone?
No.
Probably not.
Not against the Cardinals defense. They're
But see,
too good.
my theory here is that Patrick Peterson's going to be on Calvin Johnson. There's going to be less attention paid to Golden Tate. I think Golden Tate is actually going to put up his numbers today. I'm just hoping and praying he gets in the end zone. So for any listeners out there, start him at your own risk. I'm starting Golden Tate just because I don't have any other options. But
maybe next week.
I feel like this is the week. This has got to be the week that Golden Tate finally does something. Somebody's got to help Matt Stafford out. Matt Stafford's got to help himself out by just being accurate with the football and making right decisions. So I think the Cardinals are going to win. I think the Lions have the better fantasy players overall, though. Next game, we got Patriots and Cowboys. Guys, who do you got?
I like the Pats. I like Deion Lewis. I kind of like Joseph Randle. Other than that, I really don't know besides the obvious Gronk. And I go with Brady, honestly, in this game. So he's been a lot better in fantasy than he has been in years past.
What about LeGarrette Blount today? Or Deion Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, Deion Lewis is going to catch the ball. That's the thing that I like a lot.
I think Julian Edelman's a good play today, by the way. Ryan, who do you like in this game? Fantasy, game day prediction? I mean,
Well,
tell me
LeGarrette
the whole
Blount
thing.
is coming off a bye, and he had a 26-point week in Week 3 against Jacksonville. But still, 26 points coming off. He was only suspended that one game. He had coming off a 4-yard performance the week before against Buffalo. It was against Jacksonville, but still a 26-week performance. I do like LeGarrette Blount. I think what you said, John, Deion Lewis is going to be catching the ball, and LeGarrette Blount is going to be running the ball. Patriots, I mean, I don't like facing the Patriots ever, let alone the Patriots coming off a bye.
I think it's safe to say the Patriots are going to win this game by
Good luck,
multiple
Dallas.
touchdowns.
I mean, Dallas does seem to play well against
For fantasy,
teams.
from a fantasy perspective for Dallas, I like Jason Witten because he's the security blanket for Brandon Weeden. I'm not sure about that Dallas running. I mean, Dallas's offensive line is very good. It's just going to be a question of how does Bill Belichick game plan for this Cowboys offense. He's going to take somebody away, and it's just a question of who he takes away. I'm not really confident with any Cowboys receivers. So, I mean, the only option I think is Jason Witten. So, we agree the Patriots are going to win. Let's move on to the next game. We got the Broncos and Raiders, an AFC West rivalry game. I think this game is going to be closer than the experts think, but that Denver defense, man, they are one of the best they are one of the best defensive lines that I've seen in the last 5 years of the NFL. I'm serious. This team, their defense is the real deal. So even if Peyton Manning doesn't have to play at a high level, I think the Broncos are going to be a scary team to watch come December and January and possibly make a Super Bowl run. But that's irrelevant right now for fantasy perspective. I don't like Peyton Manning today. I really don't. I just don't think Peyton's ever going to be the same type old Peyton Manning fantasy quarterback that he usually is. That Broncos running game has just not been a factor, although Ronnie Hellman did have a 70-yard rushing touchdown last week, but not confident at all. The receivers, you start Demaryius Thomas, you start Emmanuel Sanders with confidence. Those guys are the real deal. Those guys are consistent week in and week out. Do you guys have any options on the Raiders side of the ball?
I like Derek Carr. I mean, I don't even know.
And that's encouraging. I like Derek Carr as well.
I don't even know if I would consider Derek Carr a sleeper because he's been pretty good his first year and a quarter, I guess, in his NFL career. I mean, we said we don't like Peyton Manning, but we do like Derek Carr. But that doesn't mean if I had a choice between Peyton Manning and Derek Carr that I would choose Derek Carr. I'd probably still start Peyton Manning over Oakland. There's just something about Denver. The way they win is just so ugly and so non-convincing that I just don't know what I feel about them. But they're 4-0, so, I mean, I guess.
The bottom line in this league is finding ways to win.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter how you get it done as long as if you get it done.
Yeah.
It's all about the W's.
Right. So, I mean, I like the Broncos in this game just because of their defense. I'm not saying that their offense is going to be anything special.
I like the Raiders. I think the Raiders might pull an upset.
I like it, and I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't, especially with the rivalry game. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think.
We got the primetime games coming up next. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Fantasy Forecast on WHIP.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse.
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh. Didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm so glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Ugh, barf.
What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out! Look out!
Oh my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay? My arm. I think it's broken. Can you bend it? It's already bent in the wrong direction. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious.
Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Wildfires burn millions of acres each year. And each year, wildland firefighters like Fire Chief James Hall battle to contain them. But they can't do it alone.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. It can ignite and destroy your home, your community, or more. That single ember can be just as dangerous as the wildfire itself. But you can do something firefighters can't. You can act now to prepare your home and your community for wildfire. You can reduce the risk. Do your part. Go to fireadapted.org.
Get fire adapted. Learn what you can do now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Back here on WHIP's Fantasy Forecast. 10 minutes until game time. 10 minutes until Eagles-Saints kickoff. 10 minutes until I book it out of here.
Boy, am I excited for that Eagles-Saints kickoff. I just think we're getting that second home win of this, or that first home win of the season, excuse me. I think the Eagles are getting back to 2-3. I just needed to say that. I'm sorry. I'm excited about getting a victory today.
Boy, am I not excited for this game.
Haven't you been excited about every single Eagles game so far?
Can you blame them? Every Eagles game is exciting except for when they're trash like they are right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
different team shows up today, I really think.
Did you think they would obliterate the Redskins?
Anyway, let's get to this awesome primetime Sunday night game between two unbelievable teams in the NFL that have just been lighting up the scoreboard offensively. The San Francisco 49ers and the New York G-Men.
What a primetime matchup this is.
Oh, man,
they must have been caught in a rock and a hard place to put this game on primetime TV.
Honestly, it really, if the 49ers weren't so bad, it would pain me to really pick a team in this game. I'm going to go with the Giants just because they're home, but only because they're home, not because they look impressive by any means. For fantasy purposes, I'm starting Rashad Jennings. I think Jennings has a good game on the ground tonight. No, I'm not going to say Andre Williams. I'm sorry. Just start Rashad Jennings. I think he has a good game on the ground, like I said, against this terrible 49ers defense and team, by that matter. Odell Beckham, Ruben Randle. I think Ruben Randle is a good play today for a waiver wire pickup. Anybody that's on the fence about, with injuries to Alshon Jeffrey and some other big-name receivers, Ruben Randle is a guy to pick up. I think he gets in the end zone today. He had a 100-yard receiving game last week, I believe. Or he has two touchdowns in 2 straight weeks. I'm going to ride the Ruben Randle hot streak. Odell Beckham has been up and down, but I think he has a good night tonight. Primetime action. I like the Giants. I'm not going to like them by any more than a touchdown, but I like the Giants. Snowden, who do you got?
I'm never usually too hot on Eli Manning, and that's honestly because he's not a good quarterback. I don't care what anyone says. But I'll go with Eli Manning in today's game. I the 49ers are just that bad that even Eli Manning could have a good game. I do like Ruben Randle, and I do like Odell Beckham as usual, and that's why I also like Eli Manning, because if those two are good, then obviously Eli's going to be good, even if he does throw like 5 interceptions like he did the last time the Giants played the 49ers last year.
He only has 1 pick on the year.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and that's why I think...
And he was really, really accurate at the end of last year until he played that 49ers game, pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm not a big Eli Manning fan at all whatsoever, but I do think he has a good night tonight against the 49ers defense. It just seems like everybody can. Although Aaron Rodgers did have his issues last week, but that's just because I feel like the Packers are one of those teams that just don't play the 49ers that well. The 49ers are just one of those teams that play the Packers extremely well. For whatever reason, the NFL, it's crazy that certain teams come prepared to play certain teams, and it's crazy how it works. But
wait, don't forget about the Giants' defense in this game, because I think they're my start, because I have the Panthers defense.
Anybody that plays Colin Kaepernick is a good start.
Yeah,
so I agree. Start the Giants defense if you have them, and if you don't have any other better options, that's certainly a good waiver wire pickup or bench option to plug into your starting lineup.
Yes.
We got the last game. We got Monday Night Football action. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Roethlisberger-less Steelers against Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers in San Diego. Who do you guys got in this game? Let's start with your picks for this game.
I don't want to pick either team. The Steelers just don't inspire me with Michael Vick at the helm, because he threw for 125 yards last week. The play calling was abysmal, and they should have won that game, but they didn't play well at all. I liked what their defense did to Baltimore, but that's Baltimore and not San Diego. I have to go with San Diego in this game, just because the Steelers, they're without Roethlisberger, they lost a lot. Antonio Brown wasn't a factor. He had 4 catches and 30 yards in regulation. His streak of 5 catches and 50 yards was snapped. The Chargers aren't great, but I think that Keenan Allen going to have a field day. I think Melvin Gordon's going to run all over the place. I just like any Chargers in this game, and I think they're going to win by, I don't want to go with the points, but I think 10 points they'll win by.
I like Pittsburgh in this game, and that's because they're pretty much coming off a bye week. They played on Thursday night last week, and they're playing on Monday night this week. They're going to be healthy and ready to go. And I think Michael Vick does prove some people wrong in this game. I would definitely take Michael Vick over some of the starters in this league, like Josh McCown, like Brian Hoyer, even though he's not starting anymore. But
although he is starting against the Jaguars in Week 6, so let's note that out there.
Okay, well, good luck.
But I do agree with you. I really do.
Watch out, Jaguars.
I've been going back and forth with this game. I really have been, and I can't really come to a firm decision until now. I'm going to agree with Snowden here. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that they're just better offensively. I think they have more weapons offensively, that they will finally find creative ways to get Antonio Brown the ball, even if it's in obvious bubble screen plays or just quick hitters like quick slants, anything of that nature to get him the ball quick so Michael Vick doesn't have to, read the defense down the field and make decisions, under duress. And Le'Veon Bell, let me put it this way. I think Le'Veon Bell is the best running back in football. I think that he will have 100 yards against any defense that he plays. And I just think this Pittsburgh offense is just better suited to put up more points. I've seen more consistency from their star power than I have from San Diego. But I do agree with the fact that Michael Vick could hold the Steelers back to a certain extent. I just need to see Rivers and the Chargers offense be consistent. Will it be this week? Maybe it will be. But I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that with their backs up against the wall, I feel like they will find a way to respond and get a huge, huge win on the road and get themselves over 500 and get some momentum going from now until whenever Big Ben comes back.
The problem is Michael Vick just doesn't inspire me. I mean, do you remember the Tuesday night game against the Vikings when the Eagles, they didn't even have their backs up? Yeah. Well, they didn't even have their backs up against the wall, but Vick laid an egg against the Vikings and Joe Webb. And I mean, maybe that's coaching, but Vick played poorly, and Vick has been playing poorly, and I just can't see it. I'm not a Vick guy, if you can't tell. I just don't like what he brings to the table, especially at this point in his career. He's always been a run-first guy. He always will be a run-first guy. And I think that the Chargers do enough to win the game.
Well, I guess that's it. It's always a pleasure, guys.
That's week 5 in the books. We got week 6 next week. I am super, super excited as always.
I'm not sure how excited I am for this Eagles game.
Well, you should be. I'm just going to note all the Eagles fans out there, get ready for a huge, huge victory today. Mark my words.
Up next is Simply Sinister.
Go Birds!
Hosted by Ryan Christopher.
What's my last name?
Cena?
Yes, my last name is Ryan Christopher Cena. That's not my whole name. No, my last name is very British. It's actually Scottish, but I'm also Irish. I don't get it. What's going on, guys? RC here. We got some music to play. I may sound like a goblin and look like a goblin, but that's because last night we had the Rock Allegiance Festival, first inaugural one here in Philadelphia. I got home at 2:15 a.m.
Nice.
And the show went till 1 a.m., so I got a lot to talk about. And yeah, I'm just gonna play loud music to keep myself awake. So that's always good.
Music is good. On that note, we will see you guys next week. Stay tuned to WHIP for Simply Sinister with RC. And let's go Owls.